we start getting towards the end of this deployment.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Mark got killed on August 2nd. And then September 29th, Mikey gets killed.
Yeah.
And we're not done operating by any stretch, because we did a bunch more operations, but it was definitely winding down at that point.
Yeah.
We had to start thinking about redeployment.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we were all packed up. I remember, because we weren't out at a Corregidor anymore.
yeah, we had guys that were, you were one of the guys that had come back from Corregidor as we started trying to filter guys back to consolidate.
I was so mad I had to come back. You know, I think about it every day when I feel this finger, because I cut my finger down to the bone, and they actually had to CASVAC me out to go get surgery on my finger, because they thought I was going to lose it, because we tried to work on it across the street at the aid station, which those guys are phenomenal combat medics over there. And when they were like, dude, we need a bird for you, you're going to lose your finger. Delta Platoon Commander and the Badger were like, dude, yeah, absolutely. You know, so I went back, grabbed some gear, and, you know, I feel that every day. It's just hard. Like, that was the only op I wasn't on. You know, and every time we went out, I always said a group prayer for the guys. It didn't matter if it was like, hey, we have to go right now. Delta Platoon Commander or the Badger or someone would be like, hey, we got to get JP real quick. And I'd say a group prayer, and we'd roll. And that was the only one that I wasn't a part of. And, you know, Mikey was my AW gunner. You know, he was always next to me when I was doing my sniper overwatches, and he was next to me when I was rocking point, you know, because you need an AW gunner. And JP might have gotten a little crazy towards the last half of the deployment and started to walk in point with the 300 Win Mag. And Mikey was there. And I wasn't there, you know? And I don't know. So.
Well, the good news is you got to go home with him.
Yes. Yeah. Got to escort his body home. Which was unlike anything else, you know. You're like, cool. You know, you get to be a part of that. But also at the same time, you're like, this is really shitty to be a part of. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I wanted to be there and make sure everything went well. And I just remember us flying back and just staring at the flag over his coffin, you know. And some guys would, you know, lay next to the casket, and we'd lean up against it. And yeah, it was just getting to bring him home was important to be a part of that. But, you know, everybody felt so much guilt. And we all try to keep each other accountable on that. You know, it's like, hey, man, this is war. You know, Mikey saved a lot of lives, you know, and we made an impact over there. And so it wasn't like it was for nothing. And what he did, I mean, the guys' lives that he saved, they all now have families and kids. You know, a couple of them had kids. Mikey had the easy out. And just like he always did, he never took the easy road. He took the harder road, the road that would actually make a difference. And this time it was the lives of those guys around him. And it was just the ride back. I mean, you're just thinking about all that. And, you know, it was also kind of a blur as well. You know, like I remember, you know, just rubbing the flag, you know. And the flag's always been very important to me. I remember graduating Hell Week and just seeing the flag fly, and then you hear it in the national anthem, and just seeing it over one of your boys' caskets was just brought a new level of connection and love for that amazing flag that we have. And I just remember I just sat there and I just would just rub the flag. Just rub it, you know, because I had flags that I carried with me on every deployment, every mission. I still do that sometimes. Like my wife, Amanda, I'll be doing something and I'll find a flag and I'll just kind of rub it. And she's like, she knows, you know, she's like, that's like my little trigger, you know, my trigger point. I just started thinking about things again. And, you know, I've taught my kids, Aiden, Cora, and Nola, to love and respect the flag. Like whenever they see a flag, they're like, Daddy, it's your favorite thing. It's Daddy's favorite thing, you know. They love getting American flag t-shirts and shorts. They saw some American flag cowboy boots. Of course, my daughters want those now. And I've been honest with my kids, you know. My boy Aiden, I call him my bonus boy. He's my stepson. I love him just like mine. You know, he asked me about the flag and why is it so important to me. And I've told him, I'm like, you know, it's been draped over a lot of caskets of my buddies that didn't make it home, that were killed overseas. And he's such a special kid. And he was just like, that makes sense. And, you know, and he sees a flag, and I explained to him why a flag's at half mast. And he's even said, hey, I'm sorry that flag's at half mast. Like, he doesn't know why, but he knows something happened. And he knows what it does to me and guys like you. The flag's at half mast, something horrible has happened, and he knows that, you know. And so I just remember, you know, I think he went to Bethesda, and then we continued on to San Diego. And just tried to mentally reset for a couple of days. You know, you're back in San Diego. It's awesome, but it just didn't.
Yeah.
It had nothing, you know, because you knew you're waiting to receive one of your boys' bodies, you know. So it didn't matter where we were. It didn't matter that we were in San Diego. Like, we didn't want to be in San Diego. We wanted to be back overseas still, you know.
When we went to Habanilla to put him on the bird, and casket was open.
Yeah.
And we were just filing by.
Yeah.
And I remember you were ahead of me. And we were walking into like a mill van.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a one-way thing.
It was a cold mill van.
It was a cold mill van. And you were ahead of me. You know, you were literally right ahead of me. And you walked in, and you took your last look at Mikey, and you put your hand on the casket, and you turned around, and I was right. You know, we were just looking at each other, and when I saw your face, the look in your face, I felt super worried because I could tell that you were tore up. And I said to myself, hey man, Jocko, you need to get your fucking game together right now and be strong.
And you were. And that's what we needed. And guys like the Delta Platoon Commander, super, super strong for us. But you saw them hurt. I mean, everybody's hurting, you know. It was, that deployment, you can't not be close with somebody, you know. And especially someone like Mikey, man. Like, he knows I like my sleep. And so he would make sure I didn't get my sleep just because Mikey didn't sleep. And our rooms were right next to each other. You know, I was back in this corner. He was over in this other corner, and there was a sheet of plywood between the two of us. And he was always like, what's up, Holmes? He's like, hey, Holmes, you sleeping? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to, Holmes. And he's like, cool. And he'd open up the tarp, the little cami, tarp that I had over for my door. He'd just come in and sit on the edge of the bed. I'm like, what's up, buddy? He's like, nothing. Just he just talk about family stuff, and you could tell a lot was on his mind, and and he's like, hey, you want to watch the newest episode of Thirsty Traveler? My parents sent me the Thirsty Traveler. I was like, no, but I'm awake, so I guess we're going to watch the Thirsty Traveler. Because there's a couple times where I'd be like, hey, bro, like, I'm trying to sleep. Like, just go do your own thing. You know what I mean? And he had a little hole that he carved into the plywood between our rooms. And he would crack Kim lights and push them through. And they'd fall right next to where I was sleeping. And I'm like, I'm going to strangle this guy. But it was my boy Mikey, you know? Like, he was my boy. You know, we were real close in the workup. And then obviously deployment, you know, we used to ride street bikes together. And anyway, so deployment, he was just fun. It was just, I say all that say that is just he did that with everybody.
Yeah.
It was hard not to be close to him. It was, you know, there's a different connection when you're legitimately in war with your boys. You know, that's why all the Army and Marine guys that we served with, like, anytime I still see some of them once in a while. I randomly ran into one of them up in Ohio, and I was just like, dude. And I was up there on a sales trip, and I just ditched my sales team guys, you know, because I wanted to hang out with them, you know. And then there's been other trips where same thing, another one. My boy Nick Hobbs, you know, I ran into him. I was with him on my sales team, and it's like, come on, you know. It's just that connection is just, it's hard to explain. I mean, you guys know how it is doing jiu-jitsu and combat sports where you're rolling with guys and you legitimately, you're helping guys cut weight and just all this stuff. Like, there's that bond and that connection. Take that, times it by 1,000. And then add some more, and that's the connection you get with these boys in combat. So it was just real hard. I mean, and part of it is that's just who I am. Like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I just connect and attach to people very closely. And, you know, Mikey is just, it was really hard.
And that's the look that I saw on your face.
Yeah.
That's the look that I saw on your face. I was like, and I mean, obviously, I know what kind of personality you have. I knew what kind of personality you have. And I saw that look of devastation, and it was the first time, because we'd been together. I mean, we heard the news, but it was the first time that I saw your look, where it was almost like that was the first time that you really realized that Mikey was gone. That was it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm right or wrong, but
no.
From the look in your face, I was like, okay, he is devastated right now, and that's what I thought to myself. And again, I mean, I saw you as my little brother. I mean, for sure. I don't mean that in any kind of derogatory way in any sense, but I literally saw you as like my blood little brother.
Yeah.
And so to see you just devastated like that, and I knew that you were looking at me like, okay, what's Jocko going to do? And I knew that I knew what I had to do.
Yeah.
Was I had to show, like, listen, this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is who we are. Get your shit together, Jocko, and handle this. And not saying I didn't, you know, not saying I was a robot,
yeah.
But I knew that I had to maintain strength.
You have to.
And find that so that you guys could go, all right, we're going to be okay.
What's been pounded into our minds since Buds? Win the fight. Like, if you're in a fight, win the fight. Win the firefight, right? And right then, that our fight was, you had to keep the guys together. You know, that's why it's always self-aid, buddy aid, right? You get shot, you get hurt, you take care of yourselves, because if you're in a firefight, your boys are going to win the firefight first before they can take care of you. That's just part of it. That's how we operate. And you had to do that.
Yeah,
you know?
No doubt.
I mean, that you're in that highest leadership position, like, yeah, it just... And the same thing, like, I had to get myself together, you know, just because other guys in the platoon, like, I thought, or at least I felt like they looked up to me as well. And, you know, especially after that deployment, you know, you had to keep your stuff together, you know, and it's just a weird, you know, I don't know, it was the first time I ever experienced that, you know, at that level. So